Welcome back to First Look. It's time for our information segment this Wednesday morning. Hopefully you're having a great start to your hump day this morning. We're sitting, as we promised, with the top brass of Antigua Cruise Ports this morning. We're sitting with, to my immediate right, the General Manager of ACP, that's Gasper George, and to his right, Elijah James, who's responsible for marketing and communications at Antigua Cruise Port. Gentlemen, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Congratulations on the auspicious event you had on the weekend. Who wants to do a recap for us on how proud ACP is about? Okay, Mr. George, the task is yours.
At Antigua Cruise Port, and I think I can also speak on behalf of the parent company, Global Ports Holding, we are extremely excited and very, very delighted to have delivered what is phase one of the new Upland development for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. This is, as I said, phase one in the new development, because as one will recall, when we started here in 2019, we focused on upgrading various aspects of the downtown cruise community, cruise environment. That began with the construction of the fifth berth, the connecting boardwalk. We've done some work on Heritage Quay, of which we will continue upgrading Heritage Quay in the year 2027 and beyond. But for this, the Upland, we have always been excited about, which is 4.5 thereby acres of development. Our first focus was ensuring that we delivered the cruise terminal, and that cruise terminal was specific to our home porting. It's very exciting, Ursula, to see how we've progressed from marquee tents and moving into an actual building, really demonstrating our position here in the Eastern Caribbean as a country that is ready and equipped with the essential tools to really advance that business of home porting and turnaround. So for all of us at Antigua Cruise Port, more specifically the team, as well as the cruise community, we are excited and we're very eager to see what would come out in the near future. As we know, some things are already coming up on the horizon. We've gotten quite a bit of new interest in turnaround. We know for sure we'll have some new ones in the Sisters of Arvia in the 27-28 season. So the investment is already showing and proving that there's a lot to come.
Yeah. In terms of immediate impacts and benefits that you think this new cruise terminal will have on home porting across Antigua Barbuda as the season progresses, what benefits do you think will come to not only ACP but to passengers and other stakeholders?
Home porting and turnaround has a lot of economic benefits. From the time, for us now, we're doing two sets of home porting. For the luxury lines, we do the full turnaround, which means that everyone on that vessel disembarks and they have a new crew coming in. And we do the partial turnarounds with Arvia, with two Boeing 737-8 series that comes from the UK. And we have the return leg as well. So you'd speak about 737 to 800 persons every other Saturday. That also translates to the taxi drivers. It moves on to those persons at the pump because you need fuel in order to transfer. So the economic benefits are huge. One of the things that I like is seeing the agent for Arvia employ some young persons. They are from the State College and the like, who come in every Saturday to do that checking-in process. So that is another opportunity. And I could go on in terms of the domino effect and the rippling effect that home porting and turnaround does for us.
In terms of the next phase, though, and Elijah, I want to come to you because I want to come to the competition and of course, other things surrounding ACP and its development of the Upland development site. Mr. George, you mentioned this is phase one. As we look forward to the eventual completion of other phases, what can we expect?
So the next phase is exciting, just equally as the terminal. So now we speak to the commercial part of the Upland. And I hope very soon we shall not be calling it the Upland. Elijah will announce more about that. But that involves the shopping centers as well as the day club. That will be part of the final layout for the Upland development. So we speak about more than, I would say, 24 shopping opportunities for persons, and the interest is very, very high. We have a lot of persons both from Antigua as well as the region, and I could also say international, who have indicated significant interest in having a store, a commercial unit there. One of those that I'm most excited in the next phase will be that day club, which would have a signature restaurant as well as a pool with cabanas and the like. And the reason I'm very, very fond of that next phase, because it's not only for the cruise passengers, it is for Antigua and Barbuda. Persons would have an opportunity to benefit and also participate and also enjoy the facility. And speaking about enjoying the facility, please permit me to go back to the terminal, because the terminal is more than 10,000 square feet of space, of which there's about 4,500 square feet thereabout that could be utilized as a event location. All the furnishings in there are movable, and we envisage that in the near future we could have conferences, seminars, workshops. I'm not so sure about parties yet, but, because of the nature of the fact that it is an ISPS zone, and we'd have to ensure that we have so much control in that area. So it's really opening up new opportunities in Antigua.
I plan to throw a team party sometime soon. I'll probably come to you. Elijah, Mr. George made mention of the not calling it the Upland development anymore, because as we reported earlier today, and as you so graciously sent to us earlier, the Name the Quay competition is on. Talk to us about it.
Listen, I am super excited about this. Good morning, Antigua Barbuda. It is great waking up, of course, to you and sharing the news that the Name the Quay competition is live. So we kicked it off on Saturday at the Unveiling. We are inviting Antiguans and Barbudans at home and abroad to send us their recommendations in helping us to shape the next story, the next chapter in the story of our cruise tourism journey. And so for that, it's very simple. You just drop us an email at info@antiguacruiseport.com. You'll get a request form sent back to you. And by February the 28th, you let us know, basically you're answering 4 questions. What name you recommend, why, the meaning behind of it, and of course, we're looking for certain criteria to ensure that the name is something that we can utilize going forward. It's not conflicting with any issues, and more importantly than anything, that it's celebrating Antigua and Barbuda, because one of the things that we have to stress a lot to everybody is the fact that Antigua Cruise Port belongs to all of us. At the end of the day, this concession agreement that we have with GPH as Antigua Cruise Port, the port and the facilities still belong to Antigua and Barbuda, and so we need you to, together with us, help us to shape that story.
Yeah.
I know employees at ACP, of course, cannot enter.
Yeah, I got a lot of licking for that.
But employees at ABS certainly can.
Of course.
Okay,
of course.
there you go. I just wanted to make sure that was...
But I was just about to come to that.
Go ahead.
More exciting than anything
Yes.
is the grand prize. So at the Unveiling, our chairman, our founder, was so gracious to remind me of the fact that we need to give a prize. And with our partners there, we're thinking, why not give everybody a chance to win a cruise for 2? And you're going to get a chance to experience the terminal itself firsthand if you are the winner of this competition. So get your names in. You get a chance to enjoy cruising from Antigua Barbuda.
Yeah, I read that this morning. I'm excited. I already have some names penned, so we'll forward them to you. Is it one entry per individual, or
you can have as many entries as you want. There's going to be a whole criteria and a panel that goes through that whole process. But essentially, I want everybody to basically embrace the fact that the cruise terminal belongs to us. And we need to make sure not only do we take care of it, enjoy it when the different amenities come on stream, but to basically help to share the story and be a part of that journey with us.
Correct.
Yeah, exciting stuff. All right, let's turn to the season. Let's just admit that I follow the WhatsApp channel very closely. So
This is good.
yeah, and a lot of information, lots of vessels coming through Antigua Barbuda, the port at least. Talk to us about how the season is going so far.
The season is just what we expected. We've seen a growing interest in Antigua and Barbuda, and that is, of course, testament to the collective work and the energy that the cruise community and the government is invested in us and what we do at Antigua Cruise Port. January has been very bustling for us. We have had more than 7 days with more than 11,000 to 12,000 persons. And when we normally, typically, we've done something, we have been increasing it in terms of our announcements. It would be typical passengers. But we need to always remember that these vessels bring in crew to serve the passengers. And in most instances, they too are new to Antigua. In some instances, they want to learn more about the country as well. I think there was a particular day when we had the count of crew and passengers were well over 23 to 24,000 visitors that we're bringing to Antigua and Barbuda. I think we're ending January with almost 90, there are about 1,000 passengers. By the end of the season, we'll be very close to 900 to 1 million passengers that would have been bringing into Antigua and Barbuda. Calendar year is very promising. We're hoping that we can bring in at least 900 and I think I saw 24,000 passengers. And these are just bookings. We always get new requests for berths, and therefore these increase over time as well. We're very excited about what is to come. We know that once we continue our partnership with the government and whatever happens in terms of the Oasis class and the dredging, that we will, of course, be in a position to bring in even more. Our collaboration, our discussion with the cruise lines continue. And I think Antigua and Barbuda has a lot of good things to come. More so, I want to bring back with this new Upland and the terminal and the new infrastructure that we're improving in downtown St. John's.
Preempted my next question. I was going to ask about the Oasis class vessels, because there have been some delays, but will ACP be ready? I think those delays have been, of course,
I think ACP is more than ready. Our question always comes to, is Antigua and Barbuda ready? There's quite a bit that we need to do and continue working with the government in advocating for that. Yesterday, I made a presentation to the Antigua Barbuda Hotel and Tourism Association where we spoke to the next chapter. So this year, we're focusing on the next chapter. The next chapter, as you know, in every novel, in every story, as you move, it gets even more exciting as you read.
Indeed.
And so we need to also define together, what is that next chapter? What does it involve? What are the characters in that chapter? How do we ensure that we put the hook for that chapter? And in that, it has to be beyond the city. When one visits a destination, they do not come to stay within the port vicinity. They come to enjoy the destination. And therefore, we need to look at what's next. Innovation, entrepreneurship, new businesses, new ideas, refreshing the product, ensuring that Betty's Hope is in a different era to ensure that it meets the new discerning cruise passenger. And there's quite a bit that we can do. This destination is an amazing destination. By all accounts, it's doing extremely well. And it also has to transcend to the sub-industry that brings in the most to the destination, which is the cruise tourism industry.
Elijah, I want to bring you in here because, as Gasper mentioned, the stakeholders with whom you work, I know you've done a lot at ACP in terms of engaging your stakeholders. You've been training. How was the stakeholder relationships like at ACP now?
So it has been going good, and it's getting better. We still have a ways to go, as Gasper mentioned. The key challenges that we really encounter is just really getting everybody to understand the role that they play in terms and the impact that they have on the experiences the guests have as they disembark. So, for example, yesterday we actually took we have school tours that we take on board. So for schools that are interested, you can also send us an email at info to let us know your interest. And while we were taking the students through, they expressed, for example, the amount of taxi drivers and the engagements that we're having there. Some guests who are actually turning around and going back on board because they had a very busy day out already at the start. And we need to get our people to understand that the experiences, because some of these people are coming here for the first time, and first impressions matter. It's one of the reasons why we did the training in August with our destination ambassadors, just so that they can understand the perspective from the cruise industry side. Because when we have to go over and sell the destination at Sea Trade and other events that Gasper goes to and represents Antigua and Barbuda, it's very difficult to change the feedback that guests have. Every single passenger who comes off that boat, comes to Antigua and Barbuda, has an experience, tries to have a great adventure and time here. When they go back, they actually share feedback with the vessels. And that determines whether or not they're going to come and continue making calls with us, increasing their calls, expanding their calls, or not. And of course, we want to ensure that we keep growing the business. As Gasper mentioned, we're looking to end January at least actually over 200,000 passengers. February is looking at 150,000 passengers with about 93 calls. March as well is looking very promising. And for this summer coming up as well, something that everybody's been calling for, we're seeing more vessels coming in for summer. But if we want to see that keep growing, we need our stakeholders, our drivers, our vendors, our hair braiders, everybody who's in business to understand we must create positive first impressions, because they're guests who come back to Antigua and Barbuda on those boats, and they have to have a reason. I guess I mentioned about refreshing the product to make sure they come off. Yep. We don't want them to stay on board. The cruise ship has a lot of stuff going on in there, They don't have to come off. But if we can ensure that Antigua and Barbuda is always creating, a wow. And that's one of the reasons, even for the Upland development, because a lot of persons have been asking us, why are you guys putting a pool over there? You have to remember we're catering to different clientele. Some vessels do not have those big, massive pools. Yeah. So you need to have different amenities that appeal to people to come off on board.
And what's the feedback been like? Either of you can answer this question in terms of from your cruise partners, the owners, of course, of the cruise vessels, the management of those companies. What's the feedback been like in terms of how Antigua Barbuda is faring in terms of its attractiveness to cruise vessels and the management of these companies? Perhaps what we can do to improve, apart from, of course, creating the wow effect that you mentioned earlier.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, the demand for the destination is growing. And by all accounts, the infrastructure that we have improved keeps on making the destination very attractive. That's one box being checked as it relates to continue being on that itinerary. But as Elijah alluded to, the most important aspect is the guest experience. And we continue we continue challenged in that area. We need to transform this. It cannot continue like this. The cruise industry has evolved. So for most, what they knew to be what it was is changing. And therefore, that's one key ingredient. And the other would be, of course, the product. But overall, the reception, the demand of the country, of the destination for cruise is quite healthy, it's quite potent. And it's also, again, it defines a very exciting chapter for what is to come. And therefore, our appeal to Antigua and Barbuda is to join us in that chapter. We are the authors of that chapter. And therefore, our offices are always open for the channels that Elijah manages, the communications that we continue to improve. We're not perfect, and we always try to find ways to understand what is it you want. As he alluded to as well, at the end of what is now 23 more years, that concession, everything goes back to Antigua and Barbuda because it still is that of yours.
Yes. And in terms of engaging the general public, as you mentioned them, they may not traditionally be recognized as stakeholders, well, not directly. How do we get the Antiguan public to understand that it's not about the taxi drivers, the hair braiders, the tour guides, the vendors, but it's about everybody getting on board to create this magical experience?
So I'm pretty sure if anybody is in town when a cruise ship is in town, you see how town completely transforms. Parking changes, you see guests walking around in different shops and supermarkets doing business. St. John's essentially is almost like a mini mall. All right? St. John's has its challenges as well that we've also been advocating with the government. We need to work on seating. Think about it. You come to a destination, you're coming off. If there's nothing to keep them staying and lingering around, something as simple as seating, they go right back on board, and we don't want that. We want them to stay off, spend more time, enjoy. This is one of the reasons why the Upland development is one of the big appeals, because you're going to have places where people can come and just hang out.
Relax.
Outside of that, you would recognize that the engagements that we've been having, the consultations, this fact that we set up the WhatsApp channel so you understand what is coming in. So, for example, we have six ships in port. The conferences that we've been having, Cruise Connect, for example, we invite very many different stakeholders to get involved in that. And this year, it's going to be even more exciting. Some of the things that we're working on as well to kind of help get that message across, we're introducing different amenities. And one of them I'm really excited to share with you very shortly. We're, for example, looking at getting in buggies to help improve the guest experience. We're working on wayfinding signage. We're looking at how can we ensure guests know where they're going within St. John's and where the best place so they can keep exploring around. And one of the things that we're getting ready to do that I just spoke with the corporate team this morning, we're getting ready to relaunch a brand new website. We have a new digital experience that's happening. And this is the question I get from tons of people every single day. Elijah, how can we promote and get to guests who are coming to the destination? And you have to understand that many of these guests, they book as far as sometimes years in advance. Some of them I see making taxi bookings 3 months in advance before they get here. So our new website is going to be a facility that we're going to basically provide for persons who are looking to reach cruise clientele, and even for the ships and the crew as well, looking for information about what's happening from events, activities, where to eat, things to do. Those are also going to be available through Antigua Cruise Port to help reach more passengers and basically connect our community in that regard. So what I would do, I'd encourage persons, the website should be relaunched sometime later today. So you're going to see a transition. You may be disconnected right now, but by tomorrow, you're going to have a fresh new platform. Again, stay connected with our social channels, whether through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course WhatsApp. WhatsApp is a great place. There's where I share everything that's happening on a daily basis. And yeah, we want to ensure that we can help sell our people and the products and services and the experience that is Antigua and Barbuda to cruise passengers. And for that, we need, of course, the community to share the information with us and, of course, continue engaging us when we reach out, and we try to have that.
Just speaking of the last point you mentioned, certainly when we think about vendors, we need to have a registry. Is there like an approval list of, approved vendors? But I mean, I would think we don't want any fly-by-night people reaching out, marketing their services directly to visitors. What do we think about that?
So there is a process, of course, in everything.
Right.
In everything that we do, there is a process. So we do, of course, vet the persons who come through the list, of course, and there are also many statutory bodies for the government. So like, for example, St. John's Development Corporation, they are the ones who actually handle vending. And that's why we work together in partnership with all the different stakeholders. So there's so many different stakeholders. I know Gasper, when he came here first, and he got that first impression, when we realized when we have to do anything, we need to talk to as much as like sometimes 12 people just to move one thing.
Done, yes.
You know, and that expands wider when we think about the community on a whole. But I think it's something that I'm very proud of. We've been making a lot of progress in that regard, getting the message across, and advocacy is going to keep continuing. I just really want our people to understand that there is so much that is coming for us. And if we can continue shining and making sure the experience is positive, it's going to get even better.
And to just chime in there, that also has to do with standards. Because we learn from our 45 ports that we operate globally. And there are benchmark standards. And we need to continue rolling out these standards in Antigua and Barbuda. It's a lot of change. And the change is good change because it will also improve our standing in the global cruise community, global cruise industry. And therefore, we continue to make an appeal to Antigua and Barbudans to work with us again in that new chapter of change as we redefine ourselves and position ourselves positively in the space.
All right, gentlemen, I think our time is up, though. Elijah, I know you always want to get the last word.
Of course, yes, please. So I just want to remind everybody, of course, the expression of interest for the Upland development space is live. We had the deadline set for persons expressing their interest for this Friday. However, persons need to understand the purpose of expressing that interest is so that we have your contact information to share with you the application form. So express your interest. The application process will continue a little further beyond that because we want to find out, because Gasper and team, we're all going to go through and see what the different opportunities are going to be and what we want in terms of that mix. So submit it, info@antiguacruiseport.com. The same for the Name the Quay competition. And of course, whether you're a school, you want to go on a tour, send us an email. You have any questions about what's going on the port, send us an email. You have my number, 736-0990. You can always send me a WhatsApp or give me a call or just reach out to us at any of our social media channels. We are here to celebrate Antigua and Barbuda. We are an amazing destination. And of course, I know we are competing with many of our regional counterparts. But of course, our goal, we want to make sure Antigua and Barbuda is number one. As you saw in the ceremony, the tagline that we're pushing forward this year is forward together. Because that's the only way we're going to write this chapter together.
Right. So, George, you comfortable with the last word, or you want to add your last word?
But I will add how we started. It's really the next chapter. And I think Elijah gave a very good wrap in terms of the call. If you realize we're not only calling you to participate in the renaming the quay, but we're also calling entrepreneurs to participate. We'll be working with all of these entrepreneurs to ensure that also their businesses are sustained, marketing support, and even ensuring that everyone is participating in it. This is a call for all Antigua and Barbudas to come in and join, to be part of the transition, the part of designing that next chapter for all of us in Antigua and Barbuda.
All right, Gasper George, General Manager, and Elijah James, Marketing and Communications Manager. Is that right, Elijah?
Yep.
Yes, excellent. At Antigua Cruise Port ACP. Joining us for our very first interview this morning. Of course, Cruise Terminal commissioned over the weekend. We were happy to have brought you full coverage of that. And of course, we look forward to future developments as future stages and phases continue on the Upland Development Center, the Upland Development Project, which hopefully will not much longer have that name. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with the rest of Antigua Barbuda today, this Wednesday morning. Take care.